All right. Oh, everyone can hear me? Perfect. All right. Welcome to United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey to once again one of our on site public programs through the spring, summer, and fall months. There has been a slight change of program. Our originally scheduled speaker is currently not able to make it on time for our presentation, but luckily, we have another presenter on hand who is able to fill in currently. So instead of doing the original scheduled talk with Cliff, we will be doing astronomy for beginners with Ken Taylor. Ken is one of our long-standing speakers. He's been great for our outreach program as well, going to various libraries and events throughout the state to bring our programs to the public out there. So a couple things before we get started. While I see a couple people here are wandering down, we are live streaming this. So for those of you online, if you're just coming in to chat, I will be paying attention to our chat room online. You can check us out on our website, uacnj.org. That's where you'll find all the information about all our member clubs, the various telescopes and technology that we have going on our physical site here. And you'll also be able to find fun links for activities to do. So, we also have our social networks, so our Facebook, our Instagram. We got a Discord server. There's where you can find our latest updates on various articles that some of our members have written, as well as what presentations are coming up and any special events that we might be holding. We are a nonprofit, so everyone you see here is a volunteer. We do not get paid. So we've been able to stay afloat through everything, through kind donations from everyone like you. As you can see, we got our wall of stars there. So, since I see most of us have actually settled down, now for the people here. If you do need to use the bathroom, we have the porta potty to my right, your left. We also have a little museum area and sales desk set up. And all proceeds through that go to helping keep our public programs free as well as continue outreach. With that, let's get started. Apparently my speaker ran away. Is he going to operate from the... Ken? Ah,
What?
originally I was wondering whether you were going to rappel from the roof above me.
No. I hurt myself last time.
All right. So with that, let's give it up for Ken.
Hi guys, anybody heard any of my presentations previously? You? I'm sorry. It's the same one. No, maybe not. Astronomy for beginners. You did hear? Yeah. You want to leave? Was good? Oh my God, I fooled somebody. First off, I am an amateur astronomer. I learned everything I know from the people here, from the gentlemen that you and ladies that you see here. They are much more in tune with astronomy than I am, but they like me because I don't know when to shut up. So if I get too busy with my mouth, please tell me to shut up. We go from there. And so also during my presentation, I'll ask for questions. You can just shout them out. We'll go from there.
We will actually be doing a Q&A session at the end.
I understand that, but
So-
there might be people that might want to ask something even prior to that.
Yep, I'm just saying because if I know ahead of time, I can give them the mic so our online viewers can also hear the question.
Okay, fine. Online viewers also, please be aware that during my presentation, I'm going to be giving out information at the end of my presentation. If you ask a question, if you sense any kind of hesitation on my part, I apologize, but I might give you an answer. End results are there's a good shot, 50-50 chance. I'm lying to you because that's how good I am, or not.
We've usually called you out when we notice.
Okay, so again, welcome to UACNJ. been in existence for over 30 years. I did tell one of the gentlemen here that, you know, that length of time, it's just been going on for that long. Each one of the sheds that you see outside here has a telescope in them. Right now, I know that one, two, three, four, at least 3 to 4 telescopes will be open this evening, which will be really good. Okay? So, astronomy for beginners is my topic. I try to get as much information to you that might help you, of course, graduate into the hobby. End results are coming here, you'll learn a heck of a lot more. As a young boy, even myself, I always looked up. Anybody else look up? Who's got a telescope, in fact? Anybody got telescopes? Perfect. She's over there going. But, you know, you always look in magazines and all this kind of stuff. I always wondered what the stuff was out there. End results are, is it really true what I see in the magazines? Yes, because that's astrophotography. Astrophotography is not snap, snap, snap. It doesn't happen that quick. Neither does your eye. End results are, is with long exposure, you wind up getting nice pictures. End results are, is that I didn't see it. I wouldn't believe it until I saw it. And I happened to come here and I saw Saturn in my first telescope. And I'm sorry that paid for my telescope. I was that enthralled with it. And of course, I joined here 15 years ago. When staring up into the sky, you really, really got to use your imagination. End results are, is there's a lot of stuff out there, again, that you can't see with your naked eye. You see in the magazines, or if you get into the photography. Using your imaginations gets you ready to be amazed. And it truly, truly does. You might be interested in something like our solar system. Let's start with the sun. Please be aware, do not, I repeat, do not use a telescope or a pair of binoculars to look at the sun. You'll be blind in that eye or eyes in less than a half a second, and you will not get your sight back. So, never look at the sun unless you have special glasses or properly equipped binoculars or telescope. And believe me, we have a solar telescope. You can see prominence coming off the sun. It's cool as heck. So let's start with that. You might be interested in our planets, okay? There are 9 planets. I was taught Pluto was a planet. It's a planet. I'm sorry. So let's take a look at these. But how long, I'm going to ask, how long does it take for Earth to go around the sun one time? Please. Wonderful. Ding, ding, ding. Prize. Whatever. Very good. Now, same person. Don't go nowhere. How long does it take to go around the sun one time? Pluto. Couple thousand what? A couple thousand days? You're absolutely correct. Couple thousand days. Anybody you want to tell me years? Go ahead. Please. 4 years. You? Yes. Give me an answer. How many years? 3 years? 30 years? Wonderful. Okay. Ready? It takes 248 years to go around the sun one time. It was discovered in the 1930s. Guess what? We're almost there 100. It was declassified in 2001. 2001. It was declassified as a dwarf planet and taken out of our solar system. But no, it's still here. End results is before it even went around the sun one time, it was discovered and declassified. It feels really bad about this. Whatever. There's your chart. If you would like, just for your own information, I need somebody to volunteer to go pass out some papers. You Definitely. You want to help? Go pass out those. This is the same chart that I have right here. And that way you'll be able to test your friends and everybody else you know. I mean, just look. I mean, Venus takes 8.5 months. Mercury takes 3 months. That's quite quick. End results are, there it is, 248 years. Let's start looking at our planets. No, this is not the moon. This is Mercury. Before I go any further, what is the hottest planet in our solar system? Go ahead. Yes. No, you're not going to answer. Oh my gosh. Anybody got a guess? Bingo. This guy knows more than I did. Oh my gosh. Good for you. Yes, Venus is our hottest planet, hotter than Mercury, because it has an atmosphere. The atmosphere is like greenhouse gases. End results are it holds the heat in. You can melt lead on the surface of Venus. Speaking of Venus, here's a nice picture of it. I'm showing you, of course, Venus and the moon. How come we're not showing a picture of Earth? Why? Well, these are guys on Earth taking pictures. Okay. Oh, so you take a picture like, so all you do is you take a picture like this, and then you show, that's Earth. And they'll go, what? It looks like a driveway. So, whatever. End results are you're standing on it. That's why we don't, you'd have to be in outer space. A lot of people think I have been there or am still there. And go ahead.
Depends on the day.
It depends on the day. Well, it's Saturday.
Have you taken your meds?
Okay. So, next, Mars. Mars here, you can actually see through several of our telescopes on a good clear night. That moon is a killer, and Mars isn't up until early morning. So anybody willing to get up at around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, you'll actually see 5 of our planets in line. If you want a question, do me a favor. Come on up here by the lady with the microphone. That way, online can, of course, appreciate your question. And I won't because I probably don't know the answer to it anyway. So, it has 2 moons. Yeah, you can sometimes see them. But you could actually see the ice caps, okay, here and here, of Mars through the telescope with your naked eye. Okay? But that's close. Of course, next, Jupiter. Let's go back here. Jupiter. See this here? What is that? Go ahead, scream it. That's one of the moons. But it's not the moon. That is actually a shadow of the moon. If you look at this picture very carefully, you'll be able to see the moon. If you'd like, you can come closer, but the moon is right here. You see that little line on that? End results are, that is the moon. What moon? Gosh, if I know. It's a moon. Okay? And it has 67 moons. This is actually an absolute lie. Because at the time I made up this slide, yeah, that's all that we knew of. Since then, we've discovered many more. I believe, and maybe you might be able to correct me, there's something like 76 moons around Jupiter. Because of our space telescopes, we've been able to discover even more. Saturn, like I said, Saturn is viewable, so is Jupiter and Mars, in a telescope. And you will actually be able to see the space between the planet and the starting of the rings through our telescopes. In this size? No. It'll look about the size of a quarter of the size of a dime in our telescopes. depending on the power used. End results are, this is a astrophotography. End results are, we blow them up a little bit, make them a little bit bigger. That's Mars. Anybody have it? This is obviously a picture of Jupiter, and yes, you'll be able to see the red spot on Jupiter through our telescopes. The red spot being here. Any ideas what that is? This guy, he's got. Why? You're good. He's honest to God. Thank you. Absolutely, it is the aurora borealis on Jupiter. And keep it coming. That's perfect. Okay, Uranus. Actually, in this picture, because of the resolution and me being projected on the screen, there's actually 6, but now you can of course see the rings on Uranus. Of course, that was taken by online. Give me the answer. What probe actually, or telescope actually took that picture as it passed through? Not telescope or probe, whatever. And Neptune. Basically, Neptune. Let's look at Neptune. Let's look at Uranus. In both cases, they're a lot further away. End results are they look like a green blur or a light blue blur, but it's a planet. And
Was
then,
it the
of course,
Voyager mission?
Pluto does have 5 moons, but its declassification was done because here's the planet, here's the moon. They both go like this to each other. Online, they do this, okay? And therefore, being that they discovered stuff that is actually bigger than Jupiter in our Oort belt, end results are, that's the declassification into a dwarf planet. I would like to show you this because a lot of people would like to see this. This is a video that I located online. Let me just see if I can do this. We'll do it. Cool. Let me blow that up. This.
Hold on. It doesn't like you.
No good?
It's not on the screen.
Not on the screen. Perfect. Thank you.
Luckily, I can.
I'm having technical difficulties. Please excuse me. I'm so sorry. Like I said, I'm an amateur astronomer, an amateur. That's a computer.
Hey, no, back to the beginning with you.
Here comes our technical help, Chris Callie.
Can you help? I just need this to go up there. The video.
Thank you for the, patience, everybody. I apologize.
So chat's thinking the picture that you were referring to was taken by Voyager as their best guess.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happens when we allow Ken to touch the technology.
There was a little picture. Keep playing. I'm not seeing anything. Bingo. Now I have to get back to the slideshow too. That's my problem. Here we go. So that's the moon of Earth. Size differences. Oh, why is it in German? Everybody knows what it is. What the heck? That says Saturn, everybody. What was that? I loved it. I loved it. black hole movie. This is the largest, at that time, largest star. Look at this. That's Earth. So let's get out of here before we wind up doing a whole bunch of stuff. Back. We're good. Almost. Thank you. I'm sorry, Kimmy. And now it's back on. Okay, so I looked at a little bit more. It would take a current 747 1,100 years to go around that star one time.
I hope the in-flight snacks are worth it.
And they got a large capacity toilet. Okay, or maybe you're into deep space objects. I am. Okay, when I take my pictures, I do deep space. Everything else is too close. You know, when you start talking about 1 billion miles away, 2 billion miles away, that's nothing. Anybody know how big a light year is? I know you do. Hold up. Just because. Go ahead. Anybody have an idea what kind of distance 1 light year is? Let them have it. Six. It's approximately 6 trillion miles in a light year. Okay? I'll stop right here for just a half a second. I'm turning out the sun on my magic switch. Okay, everybody? Everybody online saw that? Okay, good. It's still light here. It won't be dark here for another 8.5 minutes. I like to show people my next example of light speed. Light speed is like water coming out of a squirt gun. Okay, I'm going to squirt it over here. Anybody want a shower class? Good. Go stand over there. No, I'm not going to squirt. You get lost.
The plants need some
Just
water,
like
though.
this. This is the sun. The water coming out is light. That's how time. So I turned out the light on the sun. It's still traveling through space when I turned it out. And 8.5 minutes later, boop, now it's dark on Earth. Same thing coming back. So when you start looking at stuff such as one of my pictures that is coming up, I'll go a little bit further with my explanation. You might be into deep space objects, comets. We have pictures of comets. Chris, who was right here before helping me with the computer, has taken pictures of a comet over our back observatory here. Phenomenal shot. Galaxies. There's a bunch of them out there. Like this one, M51. This is a galaxy swallowing another galaxy. And a much better picture than I've taken. But end results are, we're going to collide with another galaxy too. So hold on to your seats. It'll take only about another 2 to 5 billion years from now before Andromeda, which is 2.964 million light years away, to hit us. So we're okay. We're safe. Globular cluster. Bunch of them out there. Believe it or not, this happens to be M13. M13 that you're looking at, this picture, has, I don't know who counted them, 1 million stars in it. And yes, you can see it in our telescopes. That, star clusters, you'll be able to see with no problem. Long exposure gets more detail. Speaking of Andromeda, this is Andromeda. You'll notice that there's actually two other galaxies. This is a galaxy. This is Andromeda, and that's another galaxy. They're both behind Andromeda. Now getting to my thing, my picture here. This happens to be a picture I took. I'm an amateur astrophotographer, amateur astronomer. I learned everything about astronomy and astrophotography here. So, in this particular case, Andromeda being 1,500 light years away, the picture that I took, which is now about 7 years old, the light that I captured in my camera has been traveling through space for 1,500 years and then into my camera. Just like the sun turning out 8.5, that light had to come through space. Crab Nebula. The Crab Nebula is M1. Right, Brian? M1? Crab Nebula? M1. Yes, I had confirmation from one of the people in our audience. M1 was discovered actually on paper in China, a Chinese documentation, history, whatever, that when this actually happened, again, several thousand light years ago, thousands of years prior to them seeing it, this is a nebula that was seen in China in 100 AD. They have documentation that they were able to view this object in the sky during the day. That's how bright it was. And that being thousands of light years away. Orion Nebula, also viewable through our telescopes. Also Andromeda, which I had up previously, and this one you could see with your naked eye in a very, very dark place. I can see Andromeda here. But with a pair of binoculars, you can see Andromeda. Not in the detail that you just saw, because that's a long exposure. You would see the core, which becomes a fuzzy cigar shape in the sky. Somebody gave me this last time I did a presentation on this. Nebula. Nebula. What? What? No, somebody gave me the information they had. You were here? Yeah. Somebody said, it's this nebula. End results are, I don't know, it's a nebula. I didn't take the picture. You might be looking up in the sky, even tonight, and you might be something moving in the sky. What are they? Not an airplane. Those have lights on you. Satellite. Or you might see this, and it's not a satellite. It's not a meteor. It's not anything of your map. Go ahead. It's not a comet. That's what a lot of people would like to think it is. Well, it's kind of alien. It is now. But maybe you might be thinking it's a star. It's actually the Tesla that Elon Musk put up, and actually somebody took a picture of the dot in the sky and tracked its thing. It was the Tesla. There's a roadster that was put up in 2016, and he put it up there because he could. He was trying to prove, of course, the stuff. Obviously, from the one picture, which it shows that dot here, in the later picture, that's the Tesla. So if anybody's interested in a free Tesla, go head out into space, because I think it's between us and Mars. So go from there. There you go. I don't know why the roof is down. One, there's no wind for you to blow in your hair. Plus, he's got a helmet on, and it's a dummy. So, yeah, it's kind of an alien. Or you might see some fellow like this. Who is that? It's not Yoda. It's Baby Yoda. What? Baby Yoda. Or you might see somebody like this. Who's that? Bingo. Guardians of the Galaxy. You're absolutely correct. All right. Now back to reality. All right. So maybe you can see the stars. That's a career thing. But Elon Musk saw. There's a lot of people that are involved. Okay, with our space program now, obviously. even some names that I don't even include, which is the one British Airlines. Who knows them? Brands. That's it. That's it. There's also a program that is no longer on television, but it's really informative, of course, for you young people, because she does get involved and talk about careers in outer space. That's another topic that I usually follow on. But you can find this online. Really good, especially for teens and younger. Have you seen it? Have you seen that show? Look it up online. It's some of the stuff is kind of cool. Anybody got apps on their phone? What? You got a phone? Oh, I was gonna say one of the best things you can do when you start astronomy. Okay, back to beginners of astronomy. You want to know where to look in the sky for these particular objects that I just described, and the other ones that I haven't even talked about. End results are with the app on the phone, really good. Okay, there's a bunch of them. Google Sky, Sky Chart, Google Maps. Not Google Maps. Google. It's put out by Google. Yeah, Google Maps. You'll find a bunch of stars. Go to L.A. Go to L.A. You go. Okay. This happens to be Sky Chart, where you actually now can see, of course, the stars, the constellations, and all that. The one thing I like bringing up since there's a lot of adults here, first things first, there's a bunch of Greeks running around at a fire, whatever, and they're looking up in the sky like this, okay? And they see these, in this particular case, like 6 stars. I don't want to get in anybody's way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It looks like a Y connected to another Y. I'm sorry, they said it's a crab. We're talking too much rum here, right? I mean, fireplaces, rum, all this kind of stuff. But, and that's only one of the ones that are really like weird. Okay? There's another one that I love pointing out to people. It is free online called Stellarium. Have you ever gone to a planetarium? A lot of people. End results are this is a planetary software, absolutely free. And it is great because I can go back and find because it allows you to go forward in time, backward in time. I can actually find out what was over my head when I was born. I looked up. I don't know what the heck. But Stellarium, really good. It's stellarium.org. It's a great program. You can manipulate the sky. You have to set it up for time, date, which of course are coming straight off the computer, and also your location, which is easy enough to find. This happens to be a picture from, actually it's 2014. Well, I'm off by 8 years, okay, I'm sorry. End results are, that's what it looked like over the sky, and down here is just a silhouette. You actually, well, you can get other backgrounds that make maybe your house, but either way. So this is the type of stuff that you'd wind up seeing on there, and you can zoom in, zoom out, rotate around, and have you can find a whole bunch of stuff because it will bring in. Well, I don't have anything highlighted except for the moon here, but either way, it'll bring in the line art, which is what you see here, and actually the pictures of those Orion, the crab that doesn't look like one, so on and so forth. Let's go back to some equipment. Here you go. Do yourself a favor. When you go out and get your telescope, you've got one already. If you don't have one, come to here. Look at some of the telescopes we have here. Yes, they're probably not in your in your pocketbook. My scope out here is like $5,000, but you can buy telescopes, eBay, Craigslist. Be aware that those are hopefully. What was that? A bat? Somebody ducked because a bat went by. End results is that there are places online that you can buy astronomical equipment discounted for people like myself or my associates here, where they're just upgrading End results are astromart.com and cloudynights.com, both of which you can look up and find anything from eyepieces to telescopes. My first one, actually, that I bought, my first telescope, was bought on Craigslist. Okay, I bought it off of there. It cost me $300. End results are it was a $1,500 telescope. So you can get a major discount and also get a telescope. Like anything else, when you buy it online, it's a crapshoot. So be aware of that. The website's astromart.com, all one word, cloudynights.com. Okay? With a pair of binoculars is a good starting place. Binoculars, the app on your phone. If you don't have a phone and so on and so forth, there's a thing called a planisphere that you can buy right inside here. And this will, of course, rotate and tell you exactly what's in the sky over your head by pointing. There's a little rivet in the center. If you were to put this approximately north and rotate it to the date and time, that will tell you what's over your head. Okay? It doesn't give you any deep space objects, real deep space objects, but whatever. Some might be on there. But binoculars are portable and easy to use. My equipment weighs about 125 pounds. I'm not going to drag that all over the place. These binoculars are a little bit too small. You don't want to buy them. My first pair that I bought were actually at a garage sale. Those are too big. You don't want to get something that's too big. Yeah, okay, I want to see somebody lift this up and put it to their eye or get crunched by it. You know, what the heck. So here's a pair of binoculars. Again, the pricing is not COVID related. End results are at $49. That's probably about $59 now for a pair of binoculars in Walmart. But my first pair I bought, $10. I actually bought a pair this past weekend because I like handing them to people and having them look at stuff. End results are you can get at a garage sale. Just make sure they're not too dirty, not ruined or anything like that. Just make sure the lenses are clear and it's not scratched in any way, shape, or form. This is what you would see in a pair of binoculars approximately. This is a photo of Andromeda in the night sky. Andromeda actually, I'm going to get out of the way of the camera a little bit. Andromeda goes from about here to about here. It's quite large, but because of that dim and we'll call it diluted lighting, end results are long exposure. That's how we can get that full shot of Andromeda. And it's only, again, from length, from here to down here, 220,000 light years. Again, a light year is approximately 6 trillion miles. And it has, and it only lies about 2.5 million light years away. Some of our telescopes that we have here and that you might be considering, Newtonian telescope. Light comes in here, bounces off a mirror up to a secondary mirror and out to your eye. Really easy. Very portable depending on the size. This is like my telescope right here, which is called a Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope. Again, same thing, comes into a primary mirror, bounces up to a secondary and out to the eye. Little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more powerful. This is a refractor similar to like what a pirate would use, okay? Where you're looking and you're looking through a series of lenses. End results are your color on a photography on a refractor is really good when you're into astrophotography. Telescopes are one thing, that's just the tube. Now let's talk about mounts. A simple manual mount, again with the app on the phone, a planisphere, or knowing where to point the telescope, you're good and you'll wind up with something like this, or maybe even something like this. It's still a little bit more sophisticated over here, but it's a good starting point. These are computerized mounts. The computerized mounts is what we most of us use here. Again, with the computer being the size of a television remote, okay, and the size of chips and its capacities, so on and so forth, you wind up getting a little bit better once it's properly set up. And I don't mean plunk. Okay, let's look at something. No, got to be at the North Star. There's a little bit of a setup that you have to learn. Took me only about 2 or 3 months to learn how to use my telescope. Okay, but once you're set up and you don't move it, don't kick it, so on and so forth, you'll be able to find anything via the remote, anything in the sky over your head. Therefore, let me bring up a point as we go outside. We look at some of these telescopes. Please don't hold on to the telescope eyepiece, because if you happen to ever so slightly move it, oh, all right, I got to go do a setup. And takes me about 15 to 20 minutes to do a reset up of my telescope. Kicking it, bumping it, so on and so forth, same thing. So with a computerized mount, you'll find the stuff in the sky. And going from a manual scope where it took me like 4 hours, I'd be up here for 4 hours. Yeah, what'd you see? Well, moon's easy, but I found this thing, and that's about it. During the night, and you've run my scope, right? Did you run my scope at all up there? Yeah. I had your brother running it, definitely. One of our guests that we have here actually was here with their brother when he was younger. He was probably about 8 or 9, and end results are is that he was running my scope. I taught him how to do it, and he was zooming all over the place with it. Once I showed you him how to do it. This is a little bit too big of a scope. Boop. This actually is a place called Cherry Springs State Park in Pennsylvania. It's about 4.5 hours away. And it is one of the darkest spots here on the East Coast area. I apologize, I keep on moving back and forth because I can't stand still. But either way, this guy right here brought this telescope. Guess what? It breaks apart. He put that into a Suburban, okay? Because you have to put it together, but end results are he put it together. Best views I've ever seen in a telescope. Speaking of big telescopes, most of you, and you guys definitely, one of our guests here has been here, gosh, 10 years, easy. We are going to be the owners of the largest telescope, non-privately owned, east of the Mississippi. It will be on our back pad. That's on our property. The pad is already there, but it will be this. This is a decommissioned ICBM tracking telescope from the U.S. Air Force, worth about $1.2 million. We had to establish a value because it was a donation to a nonprofit organization. It is the mirror in the bottom, right here, is 48 inches large. Again, I said non-privately owned. We have a member here that I don't know, did he move the telescope?
Not yet.
That's still in the state of New Jersey. He couldn't be outdone. And he went out and he just got, what the heck? He got a big charge card. He went out and purchased a 51-inch diameter primary mirror telescope. So he's got the biggest one on the East Coast. Astronomy is a hobby for all ages, from little to old. I only got involved with this when I was like 52 years old. I'm 67 now. End results are, I only wish I got involved with it earlier. I just know what I missed and what I would possibly be doing today. No, I mean, it's a really cool hobby, especially in the winter when we do take our pictures. It's stiller. the atmosphere has less humidity in it. End results are we get our best pictures at that time of the year. So as you can see, these guys are pretty much in the cold. I actually have a picture of myself, not in the, and I wasn't in at this time. I wasn't in this observatory, but we'd have to shovel the snow out of the way, set up our telescopes, and go from there. But it's a cool hobby. But look at this poor slob. End results are that's me, the other poor slob taking the picture. This is this is a Newtonian telescope. That's a Schmidt-Cassegrain. This gentleman here, that's 100% manual telescope. He's been doing astronomy for over 30 years. End results are, oh, did you want to see M1? Okay, take a peek. And he'd be able to find it like that. He's also a gentleman that came up to me when we were here doing our pictures. It was cold. It was in winter time, but with no snow. He set up in the field like he is here, screaming, "Ken, you gotta come here! You gotta come here! Look through my telescope. You'll see two stars and then another thing right next to it. It's like a point on a triangle." Yeah, I see it. He said, "Okay, fine, fine. Hold on a second." And then we continued talking for about 5 minutes. And he says, "Here, now, take another look. See that it moved? Yeah, it's a little further away. Yeah, I see it." That's going through space. It can't be something real. It's got to be a UFO. And I stared at him very calmly and just said, "Yeah, it's a satellite, but what kind of satellite? It's a geosynchronous satellite that was over our head. Period. That time of the year, whatever. It was there. Okay, can we see it today? Probably. Where is it? I don't remember where it is. I had to get the guy here to come here again to point it out. It's a geosynchronous, so it stays right there. Guess what? If it's staying over our heads all the time as my finger's moving, it's not moving. We're rotating. It's rotating with us, and therefore going very slowly through our stars that are behind it. Our satellites that we see here a lot are moving. Don't get me wrong, they're moving much faster, but they're not geosynchronous, so they're changing and disappear. Go ahead.
Don't forget, anything can be a UFO if you're bad enough at identifying objects.
I identified it. He was going cuckoo. He thought he found an alien. But like I said, of course, we do have viewing in our summertime and warmer times. End results are, as you can see here, a group of us said this was an off night. We were doing pictures. This was during probably 2017-18, where we had some of our members actually putting telescopes in this field area on the other side of the house. This is them again over here. You'll notice, please, everybody here looking all up in the sky, we'll say up here in the sky. That was, I went here. I don't know if you were you a member? You were a member. I came here. There was presentations inside the building at the time. End results are, I said, if anybody's interested in looking at the International Space Station, everybody was out this door in 5 minutes, and they came out, and they were looking at the International Space Station fly over. It flies over a lot. So it's not a rare thing that happens. It flies over a lot. There's an app. I got it on my phone. There's an app you can find. It notifies you when it's going to come over, at what elevation, and where in the sky to look. So it's really, really cool. Obviously, we're here at UACNJ. Again, 7 telescopes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the pad I was talking about, which is back there right now. There's actually a small white building in the back which houses some equipment from NJIT, which is the collaboration that we had to do to actually get that donation from the U.S. government. There's a lot in our sky. There's a whole bunch to look at. All you have to do is find a dark place, open your eyes, and you'll see it, and ask the questions via your telephone or put it up to the sky to actually look at. And that's the end of my show.
All right.
Really? Wow.
Thank you, Ken, for
I'm
another
not that good.
presentation. All right. So, because I noticed a couple of you in the audience live here got here late, we're going to go through a brief uh, overview of safety things before we get into the Q&A session. So, if you guys need to use the bathroom, reminder, it is to my right, your left, that porta potty there. We do have the little museum and gift shop area. So, if are you breaking stuff, Ken?
No, I dropped something. I'm sorry.
Right. Um, do be mindful of when we are leaving. We are using our headlights. We enjoy headlights because we like seeing where people are, so we don't run them over. I prefer not to get run over. Did it once. Did not do. I want to avoid that doing that again. So, that being said, if we have flashlights, we are still pointing
Granddaughter.
them towards the ground because if we don't need to blind people, we would like to avoid that. All right. So, we're going to get into our Q&A session, and I apparently decided to leave my phone. All right. My mobile device with all our online questions. Now I have. So, normally what I do is I ask for our audience here, when you have a question, raise your hand and kind of leave it up when I call for a question so that I can go out to you and hand you the microphone. Because chances are, if you have a question, our online audience also has a similar question. So to start this off, let's get a question from our audience here. Do you guys have any questions? Bueller? Okay.
What's the star called in the middle of a galaxy or whatever? What's it called? Galaxy, yeah.
Well, in most cases, don't get me wrong, depending on the size of the galaxy, in fact, I'll say all galaxies, there's a possibility of a black hole. We have a black hole in our galaxy, okay? And actually, the technology has changed where we actually are starting to see where they're able to see stars flying around the black hole actually being collected. So the center of a galaxy is possibly is going to be a black hole.
All right. So you had asked a question from our online chat earlier about how many moons Jupiter now has,
Please.
and it has now 79 moons, and Saturn has 82.
Voila. Thank you, technology.
But that being said, our question from our online audience was what you have for your own personal telescope and camera setup.
What do I have as far as what?
Your personal telescope and camera setup, because you had mentioned you do astrophotography.
Okay. I hope that doesn't bother that I took down the light. I just unplugged it.
That's fine.
Okay. So I use sorry everybody. I use an ATEC L383, which has got an 8 megapixel chip on it. I simultaneously guide with a star shooter, Orion star shooter. Again, my telescope is computerized. It does track. End results are is with the secondary camera that I just mentioned, that actually is brought on with a second piece of software on my computer, which is hooked up to my astronomical camera. A second app, which I say, see that star on that app? See this star that you're right here? Keep it there. Don't let it move. Again, your hair on your head is approximately 2/1000ths of an inch thick. If you were to move that jitterily like this, end results are your picture's garbage because it'll become blurry. So, ATEC, and also the Orion Star Shooter are my camera setups. I also use a Canon 60D DSLR that I can also use with my setup.
Their other question was, what was your telescope?
The telescope is a Schmidt-Cassegrain Edge 8-inch diameter Schmidt-Cassegrain Edge HD. This is a telescope primarily designed to take better pictures with that type of design of a telescope.
Right. Was there another question from our audience here? All right. So our next online comment that I had to share was that Starman in his Tesla is technically a satellite, just not in its most functional environment. Because we actually had discussed this last time. You had a program. It is actually technically orbiting the sun. So, and there is actually a website where you can track where it is and what planets it'll pass by. And I believe currently they have it mapped out where in like 2000 something years it'll crash into Earth again. So, fun
Yeah,
facts.
but it won't be rusty. So get it before it crashes. It'll be an antique too.
Well, by then we could probably go catch it. I would hope.
Yeah, it's going about 15,000 miles an hour, but that's all right. Cool.
But then technology advances. All right. So our next question after that was, who is your favorite TV or movie alien? And actually, this is a good one for you guys too.
Favorite movie alien? I gotta say E.T. I have to say E.T.
All right. Who likes E.T.?
Yeah, there you go.
Who prefers Yoda? Ooh, a lot more hands there. Who likes... Why am I blanking on all the aliens?
How about Groot?
Everyone
Groot.
should have their hands up for that.
There we go.
I was trying to also think of one from the Star Trek universe, but how about Spock? Anyone like Spock? Vulcans? Oh, we got a couple.
All right. There you go.
All right. Were there any questions here? Oh,
One
there.
elbow in the back.
It's
It's
so much
getting
easier
darker.
to find you with
Guys,
it not
there's
being
no
so dark.
stars popping just yet.
How many planets will we see today?
You're going to have to speak really loud.
How many planets could we see today?
How many planets can you see today?
Yes.
5 at about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
We're
unfortunately.
closed. I
Oh.
will be sleeping by then.
I might be up. I have to go to work around then, so.
You're going to see Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And they'll be in a line, which is a rarity. So it might be good for me to wake up, but not. I mean, I don't sleep well anyway. But whatever.
All right. Was there another question out here? All right. Oh. Sorry. Thank you.
Real loud.
What's
We're
in the
hearing
middle
aids,
of a
that's why.
star?
Sorry, online.
They want to know what is in the middle of a star.
One of those. I'm going out of frame. I'm going to do this. Go ahead, hit me again.
What is in the middle of a star?
Oh.
You're asking him questions he doesn't actually know the answer to.
Soup. Oh my God. I got told, I yelled at. Oh my God. It's just a molten mess, otherwise known as a fusion core, as far as I know. Paul, what's in the middle of a star? Plasma.
Hold on, Paul.
Paul, hold on.
Paul.
We're getting an answer from somebody much smarter than I.
But I happen to have a. Thank you. It's a fourth state of matter called plasma. That it's basically normal matter that's completely dissociated. So the electrons have been stripped off, and they're floating around in this
Soup.
in this soup. That's a fluid, very much like both gas and liquid is, but this fourth state of matter is completely dissociated. So the electrons are completely gone and are no longer part of an
Nucleus.
atom anymore. So this stuff is called plasma, and it could be plasma of different elements. In other words, hydrogen, as Ken alluded to, hydrogen, oxygen, and it goes all the way up to iron, and then comes to a screeching halt, which you might be familiar with, in
Otherwise
which
known
point
as
it
a nuke.
becomes a supernova if it
Bingo.
gets that far. Thank you, Kim.
Either he's stretching or he's got a question.
Okay, so back to the question I asked earlier, kind of.
Yep.
Remember how you said how like the stars get pulled into the middle if it's a black hole, right?
Yes.
And it's like spinning. Doesn't that technically mean that we're slowly getting pulled into the middle?
Yeah. Yeah. It's only about 150,000 light years away, but we're good. We're way out on an arm. It's like somebody in Alaska who's walking to us. It's going to take a few years. A lot of years. Too many. You're good. We're not going to get sucked in.
Keep in mind, there's also, as much as there's gravitational pull pulling us into various objects, like gravity pulling us towards Earth, there is also opposite forces also acting on us. So as long as those remain kind of in balance, we're not going to go, wee, crash. We'll kind of stay kind of stable, which is actually part of why we can send up satellites and have them zoom around Earth.
Well, because even though gravity is a major force within our universe, do me a favor, please. Can you stand right here? I'm asking a young gentleman to come to the front. I want you to jump. He just resisted gravity. So that's how weak gravity really is. But astronomical terms, it's strong enough to attract other matter and everything else. Knuckles. We did knuckles.
All right. So get rid of the mosquito on my glasses. All right. So our next online question is, Ken, let's say there's an upcoming astronomical event occurring, but suddenly it's overcast. How do you combat it?
How do you what?
Combat it. Who has control of the weather machine?
The lady on the who's actually speaking on our microphone here, Kim.
No.
She's part of the Harry Potter group and waves a wand at it. Hasn't worked very well, but other than that, blow real hard, and maybe you can get rid of clouds.
Honestly, there's a lot of times when the most interesting thing can be happening up in space where you can view it and it'll be cloudy. So, for example, if we had you guys out here for a special event and suddenly it was overcast and you weren't able to see it here, a lot of times what we will do is go find a live stream of somewhere that can see it. So for us, we do try and at least give you something of what you came here to see, regardless of whether you can see it. That being said, it is weather dependent. Astronomy is outside, and unless you have a radio telescope, which can deal with radio waves, which is not in the visible spectrum, you're not really going to be able to combat the cloud cover. Right. Was there another question out here? Right. Someone had asked a question and I wasn't paying attention and I don't know what but the answer was no, monkey. You cannot post a link. I have bots that will yell at you. Yeah, fun online.
There you go.
But the next online question was, have you heard of the Weber telescope, I think they're referring to the James Webb. Is there any new information that you think we can expect to learn about the galaxy from its observations?
Oh my gosh, daily, hourly. Exactly what? I have no idea. That's the whole idea of discovery. We're looking at things that are, of course, exoplanets. We're looking at things like galaxies that are more than 13 billion light years away from us, which is going to be the birth of galaxies. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to find out about. Give it 5 years, and we'll be talking about the Webb as an old telescope. End results are is that what we will discover, I have no idea. Let's be surprised together.
All right. So if there's any last minute questions in online chat, you guys should probably be getting that in. Do you guys have any last minute questions here?
No, let's go look at telescopes.
Like Ken mentioned, we do have several telescopes open. We do have the volunteers. Please ask them all the questions you want. And like I said, do check us out on our website, uacnj.org. That's where you will find our schedule of talks that we have coming up, as well as information on our member clubs and events you can do.
Come visit our shop, because there's a lot of stuff in there kids would love. Get that special gift for grandpa and daddy. Give them a space pen.
All right. And with that, we're going to call it and have a good night, everyone.